Okay, here's my sound preferences. I like a variety of different tunings, but really what gets my juices flowing, starting from the lower octaves, is in the bass. I like my bass punchy, tight, fast with a kick. I like a little bit of energy down there, maybe a little bit of warmth, but not too much into the getting into bass bleeding. It's got to have enough weight to make male vocals, make piano, cello, percussions, have the right tonality. When it comes to my mids, I do like my mids and mid clarity, but I don't like too forward a mid, so that's the upper mids I'm talking about. So keep the pinna gain down a little bit and not make it too forward a presentation. And when it comes to the highs, I do like my sparkly highs. At my age, I'm probably losing a little bit of the high frequencies. But not too much where it's sibilant and in your face. So that's what I like. Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk to you about Celest or Kinera Celest, the sub-brand, the YAKSHA. Kind of excited about this one. I haven't reviewed a Celest in a while. The last one from this kind of brand and sub-brand was the Queen of Audio Mimosa, and I really like that one, and it had a bit of a different tuning with a planar driver in the top end, and this one's a little bit different, and let's jump into it here and first talk about the IMs. It comes in red, and it comes with this like teal green, and the faceplates are absolutely stunning. I got better pictures of it, but it has some really beautiful depth to it, including the logo on the top. It says YAKSHA on it and Celest on the other side. Really pretty IM. The shells themselves are kind of like a translucent resin, so you can kind of see the drivers inside, and the nozzle itself is not a big one. It's actually a little bit smaller one. Somebody asked me to measure the nozzles in all my reviews, and what I kind of said, which I think makes more sense, is point out something that might have, oh my god, there's that ear tip. They go on and they stay on if you can get them on. Anyway, that if they had smaller nozzles, to mention that would make more sense. And I think this one does have a slightly smaller nozzle. So if you have smaller ear canals, this one might be for you. Now on mine, I've got some narrow bore tips. I don't know what they are. Some orange ones I found. And mine's on a green, nice HEK Silver Ives cable that matched perfectly with the faceplate. Now let's talk about what's inside the unit first of all. Then I'll talk about kind of what's in the box. A little bit different approach from Kinera Celest. Their unpackaging, unboxings are always been spectacular, same as their quality of their IMs and their what you get in the box has always been really, really good. So good value there. This is $140, and for that you're going to get two dynamic drivers. You're going to get an 8mm dynamic driver for the lows, and you're going to get a 10mm dynamic driver for the lower bass and the mid-range. And then you're going to get a Knowles balanced armature for again, it's going to play into the mids, and it's going to do up into the mid-highs. And then they've incorporated a microplanar, and this one is going to do the highs and the ultra highs. So that's its configuration. And all that's going to come together with a 4-way crossover inside. So you're going to get also a very, very efficient IM at 12 ohms resistance, 105 dB, very sensitive, very low resistance. So it's not going to take a lot of power to get this one going. And what I did test this thing with was their CD2. So Kinera Celest also sent me their little dongle. So I'm going to share some impressions because I used this for some sound impressions when I was listening to this as well. In combination of an Ibasso Nunchaku dongle and Shanling DAP, the M3 Plus. So that was my sources as well. So let's talk about what's in the box, and this is a bit different. You don't get a soft carrying case anymore. Now you get this TRN style plastic case with a soft liner inside. I like these ones. I think they're durable, they're pocketable, and they're just the right size. Talking about the packaging and unboxing, Kinera Celest, Queen of Audio, they don't typically miss. Here's, I think, something very strange. You get this really interesting kind of purple, gold, black, copper woven 4-core cable, quite thick, not exactly pliable, a little sticky. Very nice cable, though it doesn't match either of the two IMs. And Jazir Defiant did the same thing, where you get a cable, but it didn't quite match the aesthetics of the IM. So I think that was a bit of a miss for Celest. It doesn't come with a modular cable, and I'm perfectly fine with that, because you do get a choice of 3.5 and 4.4, and for me that's perfect, because I picked for what I use mostly is the balance, the 4.4, and works great. So nice cable, nice termination, though the aesthetics doesn't match the IMs. Looks kind of weird, kind of ugly with this cable and those green IMs. But moving on, let's get into the important stuff, which is sound here. Now, I will start off in saying, well, I took this when I went on vacation, and I had this, and I had the Meyer Audio CK2V, and I had just finished my impressions there. So I took that one along, and I took the Dita Audio Mecca as also my source for tonality and timbre and correctness of vocals, because it does a phenomenal job. Single Dynamics do a great job of that. So that was how I did my comparisons, and when I came back home, I did more. So before I'm shooting this video, now this is coming out on June 16th, so I'm shooting it a couple days ahead of time here. But I wanted to talk about this in the sound. At $140, I'll straight up and say probably, honestly, doesn't compete with the current stuff out there. The pricing is good. It just has some stuff going on with it that wouldn't really, come out and me say it's a banger, you got to go buy it. There's another one coming up that I'm going to 100%. So sound-wise, bass, and here's a graph. So the curve looks attractive, very nice. It's got a nice bass shelf, kind of equal to the ear gain, and it kind of flows down into the lower mid. So the mid, and this is more of a mid bass focused IM versus the sub bass. So mid bass does have that energy to it. It keeps it, I was going to say fairly uncolored, but yeah, there is some definite bass bleed, especially, and you can pick that up into the female vocals. But I think there's more going on there than just that, with the warmth creeping into the vocals. And the mids are kind of where I have two issues really with the tuning of this IM. That's one of them. I think the overall mid-range with the dynamic driver and the Knowles BA, they're not entirely, well, the entire IM I don't think is very cohesive. And because of that, there's a disconnect in a couple places. One is into the mids, where I don't think they sound entirely natural. Some songs sound recessed, some songs sound forward, but none of it has a crispness or a clarity or a resolution or a depth to the mid-range that I was hearing with the CK2V. So again, that one's $50 more, but there's a big difference in sonic performance. The other part of this that I have quite an issue with is I think how the microplanar is implemented. There is a clear disconnect between in the upper register. So you get this, you get your sound playing along, and I was just listening to some cult, some rock. And again, this song normally for me, listening to a different IM, the mid-range is fairly clear. It's a bit smoky in the mid-range, just the way it's recorded. I'm very used to it. I played it 1,000 times. But it just didn't elicit what it would sound like live. It just didn't sound like that live recording. It sounded a bit wonky in the mid-range. Instruments weren't coming through with the crispness and the clarity that I was expecting or wanted in some kind of rock music. And then the top end, they have the microplanars doing the top end. It sounds like you get the treble, but behind that note, the initial note, there's like this extra information that just shouldn't be there. It's like it's working too hard. It's trying to force it off artificially on the top end, like inflate the trailing edges of notes on the very top end, and it doesn't sound natural at all when it comes to the top end. When you're playing other kinds of music, that's not going to be the case for all genres. When you're playing acoustic music, instrumental, strings, the YAKSHA really performed quite well in those genres, and when you're playing those venues, it really came alive in that. The narrow bore tips really helped tone down that kind of effect for me at the top end. But again, I just every once in a while, you next song comes on if you're going through your rotation, and you can pick it up. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it, unfortunately. So I don't find so for me. I mean, I'm a big timbre fan. I like the sound of when instruments sound natural and they have enough weight and body to them, and yet have definition and nuances you can pick up. And the in this one, in the YAKSHA, I don't get that. For natural sounding vocals, for natural sounding vocals, the YAKSHA would not be my first choice. That's for sure. And I was going to do more of an A/B comparison with the CK2V, but honestly, I think I kind of went there in that video. These two are playing at a completely different league. And as this thing has a lot, to just wrap this up in a quick one, I think in this one, again, and it's a combination of amalgamation, you might say, of drivers, tuning, and the implementation thereof, the drivers. And I think in the YAKSHA, it just didn't all come together. It was a great try with a beautiful looking IM, but unfortunately, the sum of the whole didn't come together to go, yeah, I think this is a super worthy IM and you should go out and buy it kind of wreck. So the CK2V with the microplanars, the EPZ P50 with the microplanars, I think did a much better job of the implementation of, and yes, those are more money, right? 199, 190, but the way they put everything together in the sound made it come together a lot better. In the Mimosa, with the round with the round planar, real planar, it had that kind of disconnect, but it was done in such a way that it was cool, it was different, and it was worthy. And you combine that into that slammin' wicked bass into that I am in the Mimosa. I love that one a lot more than, and I think between this one, say you take plain vanilla CK2V with the microplanar. Well, it wasn't plain vanilla. It had phenomenal stage and air and details. And then you take the Mimosa, which was kind of on the other end, the far side. This one is kind of somewhere in between. It's kind of giving you a little bit of that effect if you really like that. But if you really like that, then buy the Mimosa. Or if you wanted something more natural sounding with a better implementation, the CK2V was an easier choice or an easier recommendation to listen to. So in the end, that's really all I have to say about the YAKSHA. I was hoping for more. But it just didn't get there for me. So that's my thoughts. So thanks for watching. Much appreciated. Tone Deaf Monk. I'm out.